What is the most powerful man in Hollywood history wasn't an actor, a director, or even an artist, but a manipulator, a puppeteer who stood in the shadows and pulled every string, every smile, every sob we saw on the silver screen. Louis B. Mayer wasn't just the co-founder of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios. He was its king, its judge, and its executioner. The father of the American dream on film, and the godfather of Hollywood nightmares off camera. He called the stars his children, but ruled them like a tyrant. He promised the world glamour, fantasy, and romance, but behind the curtain, he sold pain, control, and fear. Judy Garland was one of many who learned the hard way. When you worked for Louis B. Mayer, you were no longer your own. Today, when we look at scandals involving moguls like Harvey Weinstein or Diddy, we're often shocked at how long their abuses went unchallenged. But in the golden age of Hollywood, that silence wasn't the exception, it was engineered. Mayer created the system. He was the system. And his legacy still lives on, dressed in better PR and prettier filters. Louis Bert Mayer was born in 1884 in the Russian Empire, in a poor Jewish family. He would later claim his birth year was 1885 to appear younger, already rewriting his own myth. When he was still a child, the Mayers fled persecution and immigrated to St. John, New Brunswick, Canada. Mayer dropped out of school at the age of 12. He worked menial jobs, scavenging metal and hauling junk. But what he lacked in education, he made up for with ruthless ambition. In 1907, he bought a broken-down movie theater in Haverhill, Massachusetts. He repaired it himself and named it the Orpheum. From there, he built a chain of theaters and then a distribution company. By 1918, he was producing films. In 1924, after a merger of Metro Pictures, Goldwyn Pictures, and Mayer's own company, MGM was born, and Mayer became its undisputed ruler. Under his leadership, MGM became the most successful studio in Hollywood's golden age. More stars than there are in heaven, their slogan declared. But Mayer didn't just run a studio, he crafted the American dream. He sold the idea of upward mobility, of romance conquering all, of a beautiful, sanitized America where problems faded before the final frame. But for Mayer, control wasn't just on the screen. He didn't just sell dreams, he owned them. And anyone caught trying to wake up paid a terrible price. Louis B. Mayer's grip on Hollywood was not just economic, it was psychological. He was a master manipulator who blurred the lines between employer, father figure, and prison warden. He believed the actors he signed were his property, his family. But this family operated under a strict dictatorship. Judy Garland was discovered by Mayer at age 13. Her talent was undeniable. But Mayer didn't see a child. He saw an asset. She was forced onto a regimen of diet pills to stay thin, sleeping pills to rest, and grueling shooting schedules that left her emotionally shattered by the time she reached adulthood. Mayer famously referred to her as "my little hunchback," a brutal insult mocking her perceived lack of glamour. When she cried, he reportedly put his hand on her chest and told her he could feel her heart. Jean Harlow, MGM's platinum blonde bombshell, died at just 26 after being pushed relentlessly by the studio. Greer Garson, who once stood up to Mayer's meddling, found herself in fewer and fewer leading roles. Mayer could elevate you or bury you, and often did both. He arranged fake romances and marriages to keep gay actors closeted and actresses marketable. Loretta Young's secret pregnancy with Clark Gable was hidden through a fake adoption scheme orchestrated by studio heads. Maya tolerated and concealed abuse, including that of director Nicholas Ray, whose affairs with teenage actresses were whispered about but never challenged under Maya's reign. Control extended to every aspect of a star's life: what they wore, who they dated, what they said. The infamous morality clauses in studio contracts let Maya fire anyone for almost any reason, usually under vague accusations like improper conduct. And yet, Maya himself was deeply improper, often accused of emotional manipulation, sexual misconduct, and coercion. He weaponized dependency. He'd raise young actors to stardom, then threaten to take it all away. When they cried, he called it love. When they fought back, he called them ungrateful. It was textbook narcissism wrapped in a tuxedo. Maya didn't need fists, he had power. The kind of power that makes people disappear, reputations vanish, and truth look like scandal. Long before Harvey Weinstein weaponized career threats or Diddy allegedly used NDAs and intimidation, Maya had perfected the blueprint. One of Maya's most insidious achievements was helping create the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, not to celebrate art, but to control it. In 1927, facing the threat of labor unions among actors and writers, Maya proposed the Academy as a neutral organization that would settle disputes without union interference. It worked. For a while, the glitz of awards ceremonies distracted from the fact that workers were being denied fair representation. The Oscars began not as a celebration, but as a silencer. Maya also controlled the press. Hollywood gossip columnists like Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons were more foot soldiers than journalists. They printed studio-approved narratives and buried scandals that would have ended careers, if not lives. Studios paid newspapers to kill stories. Reporters were given exclusive access in exchange for loyalty. When rape accusations or abuse rumors surfaced, Maya ensured they were never printed or were buried under glowing puff pieces. Today, we see echoes of this in how celebrity PR teams manage narratives. NDAs, defamation suits, fake apologies. Maya's machinery has simply evolved. Now it's TikTok managers instead of studio heads. Instagram captions instead of planted gossip. But the script is the same. Craft the image, control the story, and erase the truth. Louis B. Mayer sold the fantasy of American perfection, but off-screen, he built a kingdom on silence, submission, and fear. He made stars, but he also broke them. Judy Garland never recovered. Jean Harlow never lived to tell her story. Countless others were silenced before they ever had a chance. We often say that power corrupts. But Mayer didn't need to be corrupted. He was the corruption. The man who helped invent modern Hollywood also helped invent its darkest corners. His name isn't spoken often now, but his methods are still alive. In contracts, in press releases, in carefully crafted illusions. So we have to ask, how many Louis B. Mayers are still running the industry today, just with better filters? Is Diddy's power at its worst in the 21st century? Maya was power perfected in the 20th. And that perfection was a nightmare. Louis B. Mayer didn't just build a studio. He built a system of control that disguised abuse as brilliance, manipulation as mentorship, and exploitation as opportunity. He was never a misunderstood genius. He was a master manipulator who turned real people into puppets and called it progress. His legacy isn't just in old black and white films. It's in every forced smile at a red carpet, every silenced victim, every powerful man still protected by image and influence. The machinery he created didn't vanish, it evolved. Hollywood didn't move on from Mayer, it adapted him. If you think these stories matter, if pulling back the curtain on the dark side of Hollywood is important, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with someone who still believes Hollywood's biggest monsters only exist in fiction. Because silence built this system, and silence is how it survives.